Hi, greetings everybody. Well, I finally finished reading the second book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, A Clash of Kings, and now it's time to look at Season 2 of Game of Thrones. So, let's kick things off with the first episode of Season 2, The North Remembers. So, beginning on Dragonstone, the eldest living brother of the late King Robert, Stannis Baratheon, announces himself as the rightful heir to the Iron Throne. From his court on the island of Dragonstone, he sends a letter to all the corners of the Seven Kingdoms announcing that Joffrey, Tommen, and Marcel Baratheon are not Robert's true heirs, but rather the products of incest between Cersei Lannister and her twin brother Jaime. Blah. Stannis refuses to seek an alliance with rival kings Robb Stark or Renly Baratheon, despite the advice of his advisor Sir Davos Seaworth, because he sees them as usurpers. Stannis insists that all will bend the knee to him or be destroyed. Ugh. Stannis' maester, Cresson, is preoccupied with his lord's decisions, and especially with the influence that the foreign priestess Melisandre has over him. Having come under the influence of the Red Priestess and her god, the Lord of Light, R'hllor, I guess that's how it's pronounced, I'm not sure, Stannis has even converted to the new religion and has ordered the burning of the statues of the Westerosi gods. Willing to sacrifice himself for Stannis' sake, Cresson puts poison in a cup and asks Melisandre to drink from it after he has done so. While he dies almost immediately, the priestess swallows the entire cup, unaffected. Anywho, in the Riverlands, King of the North Robb Stark visits his prisoner Jaime Lannister, informing Jaime that Robb has received Stannis' letter about Cersei's children being Jaime's, and surmises that his brother Bran was crippled and his father was killed because they had discovered this themselves. Robb also informs Jaime that he intends to send Jaime's cousin, Alta Lannister, who has also been captured by the Northern Army, to King's Landing with terms for peace. His demands include the release of his sisters Sansa and Arya, the return of the remains of Eddard and his household for proper burial, and the acknowledgement of the Northern independence. Although he has defeated the Lannisters 3 times on the battlefield, Robb knows that he cannot beat them alone. For this reason, he heroically agrees to send Theon Greyjoy to his father, Lord Balon Greyjoy, to convince Lord Greyjoy to join them with the naval force of the Iron Islands. While his mother Catelyn wishes to return to Winterfell to be with her sons Bran and Rickon, Robb asks her to travel to Renly's court to negotiate an alliance. Catelyn tells Robb that his father will be proud of what Robb has accomplished, but warns him that Balon Greyjoy is not to be trusted. I wonder why. Anywho, at Winterfell, Bran Stark is learning how to be the Lord of Winterfell while his older brother is away at war. He has a strange dream where he sees himself as Summer, his direwolf, running in the Godswood. The next morning, he goes to the Godswood with Osha, who tries to pry about his dreams, but Bran ignores her questions. The pair notice a red comet in the sky. Bran remarks that the men claim it is an omen of victory for one side or another in the war, but Osha insists it means that dragons have returned. Ooh. Anywho, at Craster's Keep, the raging party that set out from Castle Black reaches Craster's Keep, a settlement some distance north of the Wall. Craster provides information on the wildlings and their leader, King Beyond the Wall, Mance Rayder, claiming that Rayder is amassing an army in the mountains, larger than any south of the Wall, and intends to move south. Lord Commander Jorah Mormont offers leadership advice to Jon Snow due to Jon's disgust that Craster has taken his daughters as his wives. Ew. Anywho, in the Red Waste, with the remnants of Khal Drogo's Khalasar, Daenerys Targaryen crosses the Red Waste hoping to find shelter. The trip is hard, with her newborn dragons unwilling to eat the meat that they are offered, and horses dying of exhaustion. Ooh. Finally, Daenerys sends riders on their remaining horses to explore in 3 separate directions. And finally, in King's Landing, during a series of combats held to celebrate King Joffrey Baratheon's name day, the captive Sansa Stark saves the drunkard Ser Dontos Hollard's life by convincing Joffrey to make him a fool instead of killing him. The festivities are interrupted by the arrival of Tyrion Lannister, who has been sent to the capital to act as hand of the king in his father's stead. Cersei is furious, but accepts the situation after Tyrion assures her that he will only act as an advisor. When Tyrion learns that Cersei has let Arya Stark escape after the execution of her father, he mocks her for throwing away 2 valuable hostages, as he had planned to trade the girls for Jaime. King Joffrey confronts his mother with Stannis' letter, which she dismisses as gossip. Oh, really, a big liar? Immediately after, the City Watch murders all King Robert's illegitimate children that they can find, though it was not revealed who gave the order. Gendry, one of King Robert's bastards, is already out of the city, but his former master-smith reveals under torture that he is in a caravan traveling to the Wall. Unknown to the Lannisters, Arya is also traveling in that caravan. Huh. Well, anyway, let's get to the production of this episode, beginning with writing. The episode was written by producers David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, based on the original work of George R.R. Martin. As the second season covers mostly A Clash of Kings, the second book of the series, the first episode adapts some material from the first chapters of the book, including the prologue, Sansa 1, Tyrion 1, Bran 1, Catelyn 1, Davos 1, the first half of Daenerys 1, and Jon 3, chapters 1, 3 through 5, 7, 10, 12, and 23. 2 chapters from the beginning of the book had already been included in season 1's finale, while Jon Snow's story is being pushed forward. Now on to casting. This episode introduces several prominent characters, most notably Stannis Baratheon, Sir Davos Seaworth, and Melisandre. The 3 of them represent the head of an entirely new storyline that intertwines with other plotlines as the season progresses. Other recurring characters introduced in this episode are Jorgen Knight Sir Dontos Hollard, the Stark's captive Alta Lannister, Melisandre's opponent Maester Cresson, Davos' son Mathos Seaworth, Night's Watch member Dolores Ed, Wildling Craster, and his daughter and wife, Gilly. Ugh. This episode also marks the upgrade of several returning characters to the main cast. John Bradley West returns as Jon Snow's friend Sam Tarly, James Cosmo as the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, Jorah Mormont, Jerome Flynn as Tyrion's cunning servant Bronn, with Sybil Kikili as Tyrion's concubine Shae, and lastly Coneth Hill as the gossiping eunuch Varys. Peter Dinklage takes the place of Sean Bean as the first credit during the intro sequence. Since Bean's character was killed at the end of last season, Dinklage jokingly wished that he could stay being the lead credit for some time. Well, looks like you got your wish there, buddy. And now finally, filming locations. The production continued using the Paint Hall Studios as the filming headquarters and the Northern Irish landscapes for many of the exterior shots. The Burning of the Seven was filmed at the beach of Downhill Strand, where local press echoed the stir that the filming caused to the small community of Castle Rock. Craster's Keep Beyond the Wall was built in a forest in Clandeboy Estate. Sorry if I mispronounced that. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss stated in their audio commentary track that while most scenes set north of the Wall were filmed in Iceland, the Crestus Keep scenes were filmed in Northern Ireland, as the lack of significant tree growth in Iceland prevented them from filming forest scenes there. The closing sequence of a caravan heading north along the King's Road, bringing Arya to Winterfell and Robert Baratheon's illegitimate son Gendry and the other passengers onward to Castle Black, was shot at the Dark Hedges, an avenue of gnarly beech trees near Armoy, County Antrim. The exteriors of the capital city of King's Landing, that had been doubled for Malta for the entire Season 1, now the production flew to the Croatian city of Dubrovnik. Known as the Pearl of the Adriatic, the city proved to be a good representation of King's Landing since it shared many characteristics with the fictional capital, had a well-preserved medieval look with high walls and the sea at its side. According to David Benioff, executive producer of the show, quote, "The minute we started walking around the city walls, we knew that was it. Read the descriptions of the book, and you come to Dubrovnik, and that's what the actual city is. It has a sparkling sea, sun, and beautiful architecture." The first scene of the episode, depicting the celebration of King Joffrey's name day, was filmed in Dubrovnik's Fort Lovrijanek, also called St. Lawrence Fortress. The later debate about the nature of power between Cersei and Littlefinger also takes place in his porch, and in the final montage with the killing of the bastards in the old city of Dubrovnik and its famed walls can be clearly seen. The scenery in Daenerys' desert scenes was filled in with CGI. However, for the production filmed desert scenes in Morocco in Season 3. So overall, this is a pretty interesting start to Season 2, and well, there's definitely a lot of things introduced here that will will ultimately get resolved or seen more of as the season goes on. So overall, I give the North Remembers 4 Iron Thrones out of 5. Well, tune in next week as we take a look at the Nightlands. Ooh. So until then, remember everyone, winter is coming.